Hi, welcome to Vistoon's starter series XD. XD is a design prototyping tool from Adobe. When you open XD, this is the interface that you're going to see. It looks very similar to any other Adobe applications that you have used before. So you can see there are some templates which are available here. There is a custom size template also which is there, and you'll see your recent files that you worked with. You can also start a new file directly from here. When you click on new file, it is going to take you to a new file without a template, right? So we are just starting with a very simple document here. We have very simple and humble interface here. So those who have worked on Figma, they will find this very, very similar to the interface of Figma. So you can see that currently you have a toolbar on your left side. You have the plugin shelf open here right now. You have which you can switch. The shelf can be switched by using these buttons. We are on plugins right now. We can actually switch it to layers. We can also switch it to our document assets, which will store your colors, your character styles, your components, videos, icons, graphics, etc. You have your regular toolbar, which has the move tool, which have your shape tools, and a pen tool with type tool, an artboard tool, and a zoom tool. So on the main area, work area, you can see that there is a template which auto-generated web 1920. You can see that the bounds of it and all that. It's very similar to an artboard. You can click on this and move it around in the workspace. And on the right side, you can see the inspector window. So whatever tool, whatever option that you have selected, whatever component that you are selecting in your workspace, the options for that will show up right here in this side. So for instance, if I'm selecting this artboard, it shows up a couple of options here. So the fill right now is white. I can change it to black. So this is how the interface basically works. We are currently in the design tab here. So this is where you design your web prototypes and things like that. You make your visual design. Then the next tab is prototype, where you will set up the connections and you'll make it working. And the last tab is share, where you can share your prototype with onto the web and with your team. So let's go back to the design. Let me quickly show you how this works. It's very, very similar to Figma. So I'm going to go in and grab a rectangle tool here, and let's make a rectangle like this. So I have a rectangle here like this, and so now you can see, if you go to the layers palette, you can see that in our artboard, which is web, there is a rectangle right here. And when you are selecting the rectangle, all the options that or all the properties that you can adjust with the rectangle will show up right here. Right now this has a fill and a border. So if I turn off the border, there will be no border here. I'm going to change the fill color to yellow right now. So we have this working right here. You can go in here, you can change the blending mode also, just like in Photoshop. You can reduce the opacity of the box. You have a couple of effects as well. You can have an inner shadow, you can have a drop shadow, you can also create a background blur effect in here. So whatever actually goes below that will be blurred. So for instance, I'm going to create another type here. So I'll just write testing. So we have the type layer here. I'm just going to drag this to make it bigger. Select the fill color, change it to white. So we have a white text here. I'm just going to bring it right here. So right now you can see that the rectangle is below the texting layer. So I'm just going to drag this under that layer, right? So this is how you reposition the layers. So now I'm going to go to the rectangle again. I'm just going to show you how the background blur works. I'm going to take on that, and now this becomes a glass like material, and you can see the amount of blur that's doing to the text in the background, right? So you can sort of reduce the brightness, increase the brightness. You can make it more opaque here. So and when you're moving it, you can see the change is live, right? The effect is live. So we have this right now, and let's create some more elements. So I'm going to create a block of text here. So I'm going to just click on this and drag it. So we have a text box right here, and you can type the text in here, and it will create a text box. That is another interesting way where you can create a text. I'm going to delete that. I'll go to the plugins, and there is something called lorem ipsum. So these are plugins that you can install by clicking on this button, takes you to the Creative Cloud, and from here you can search and install any plugins that you want. So lorem ipsum is a very interesting plugin. So if you want to fill a shape with a text, so I want to take this box and I want to fill that box with some text. I'm going to click on lorem ipsum right now and fill with placeholder text. Click on that, and it asks you what do you want to actually do, right? So I'm just going to say pangram English, end with a punctuation mark, which is a period, include line breaks, and click on that, and the text is already here. You're not able to see the text because the fill color is black. So I'm going to change it to white, and you can see that it already filled that area with text. Now you can go inside and you can change all of its settings. So if you want the text to be a little bigger, you can do that. So the text will be more readable and available here. So that's a very interesting use of a plugin. And similarly, you can actually use any plugin. For instance, there is icons for design, where you can search for an icon, and the icon will come right here. You can click on that icon and the icon will populate right here in this screen. So if you change the fill color of that icon will be right here. So this is how you create your design in XD. And the next stage that you want to see is the prototype, right? So how do you prototype this, or how do you actually show that what is going to happen when somebody clicks on this button? So to do that, I'm going to duplicate this. So click on this, and Control D on your keyboard will create a duplicate of that same page. So I'm just going to make some changes here. I'm just going to move this button right here, and I'm going to flip this like this. So we have the button which is inversed here. To take the text tool, I'm just going to increase the text like this, so there is a bigger view here. And let's add an image also. So let's create a shape, a box. I'm just going to go to the corner points, make it rounded, and we can go to another plugin here. So we go to the plugin, click on UI faces, click on unsplash, and apply randomly. We have an image randomly populated here. So just to test it out, that this actually works better. So we have two screens here. So if I go back, this is our first screen and this is our second screen. So we need to prototype this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to prototype, and I'm going to design the behavior. So if somebody clicks on this button, it should go to this. I'm clicking and dragging this band, and I'm connecting it right here. The same thing should happen here. When somebody clicks on this button, it should go back to the previous page. So I've made two connections here. Works. Now when you go to the first connection, you can, if you select this band, you can select the options of the interactions. Now we are setting the trigger to tap. You can have it drag, keys and gamepad, or voice triggered, but we will actually go with tap. So tap, the type is transition. We can also do an auto animate here, where it will create two keyframes and create a beautiful transition between these two slides. We have done that. Let's go to the back animation. We will change the type to auto animate, and now it's time to preview this. So to preview this, just go to the first flow, click on the home button to select the flow, click on the play button on the top right side. We can see that it's showing up in a browser set of interface. You click on this button, it auto animated to this, and if you click on this, it comes auto animated to the back. This is how you create your first prototype. Now you can have multiple screens in here. Make sure that you're going back to design, and if you go to the artboard tool, you can choose any frame from here. So I'm going to choose iPhone 13 frame here, and if I move it here, I can create a different flow for my mobile phone screens in here. So I'm going to take this two things and put it into this. So I have that coming there. I'm going to change the fill to black so that I want this like this in my mobile screen view. I'm going to make my text work in the mobile view. And so this is how this website will look on a mobile phone. I can create a duplicate of this and do the same thing. I'm going to copy the image, paste it right here, bring it inside, make it adjusted to the mobile view, and bring in the icon also here. So control copy that, control V, change the color, duplicate this, bring it to the next slide, and flip it. So we have these screens right now for the mobile view screens. So to create a flow, I'm going to go to prototype again. I'm going to say that when they click on this button, it's going to go here. They click on this button, they're going to come back here. Now to set a flow, click on this button. So flow 2 is created, and you can click play to see how this works on a mobile view. I'll see you with another video soon. Thank you. Bye.